Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go. When I was in college, I worked nights as a housekeeper in the local hospital. The hospital had a cafeteria that closed at 8 p.m. and a snack bar that only closed from midnight until 1 a.m. It was always a challenge to clean, and the floors were the worst part. Once a week, some guys would come in and make the most amazing omelets. 10 times as many people came on omelet night, and I couldn't start cleaning up until they left at 12:30 a.m. This gave me only 30 minutes to clean. To help me out, one of the floor crew guys would help me stack the tables and chairs, quickly sweep up the mess on the floor with his enormous dust mop, and then he would drive his riding floor cleaner, we called it the Zamboni, and the floors would be done in 10 minutes. He didn't have to do this, and I was grateful every time he did. 2 years later, he retired, and I got the job driving the Zamboni. I loved that job and was always ahead of schedule. Since that was the case, I decided to help out the new hire who was now in charge of the snack bar cleaning. We got along great, and I really felt like I was helping out. Boy, was I wrong. I'm a large man, 6 feet 2 inches and 250 pounds. I'm also a combat veteran. And despite being a big teddy bear, as my wife calls me, some people are intimidated by me. I got to work one evening and my boss called me into the office. It was the first time in 2.5 years that he ever had. He asked me about my relationship with the new girl who cleans the snack bar. I related how I was always grateful when my predecessor had helped me with it. So I tried to pass it along. I asked why. She had filed a complaint against me for sexual harassment. I was stunned. This lady, who was old enough to be my mother, said that I sought her out every night and forced her to talk to me for 15 minutes or more every night, and that she feared for her safety. It was inconceivable to me. She never acted at all intimidated, and our conversations centered around our jobs, kids, etc. Normal work talk. My manager advised me to stay away from her and not to speak with her again. That night was omelet night. I usually didn't get one because I was always cleaning up after them and didn't have the time, but tonight I was famished and ordered 2. I sat there eating them with my trainer, who was a sweet old lady my grandma's age. I had of course bought her an omelet as well. We ate and got up just as the omelet guys were leaving. The place was a mess. On our way out, the new girl asked me when I would bring the Zamboni by to clean up the floor. I just kept walking as though she wasn't there. As I did, my trainer told her, "Oh, he's not allowed to do that for you anymore," the new girl said, "but it's his job." That's when my trainer let her know in the sweetest old grandma way that it had never been my job, but instead was just me trying to help her. Now, however, I was supposed to avoid speaking to her at all costs, so I would never be doing that again. I didn't stick around to watch her reaction, but my trainer said she almost cried when the trainer told her, "What did you expect when you threw a good young man under the bus?" I learned a couple of weeks later that she was after my spot on the floor crew and thought her accusations would get me fired. I ended up changing jobs 3 months later. I heard through my friends that she tried to get my spot on the floor crew and made a big stink when she didn't get the job. She quit shortly after that. It still hurts my heart a little when I think that she would do that to a 23-year-old kid with a family. Thank God I had managers who trusted me. I'm a 16-year-old male, have a cousin, 16-year-old female, who has always looked down on me and my family. We don't have much money and can't afford things like holidays or anything expensive. She has always gotten everything she could ever want from her parents. We grew up together, and she had made fun of me for this my whole life, even though it shouldn't matter in the slightest. When I was 14, my phone had pretty much stopped working. The screen would freeze and ghost tap often, and it needed to be restarted to charge. I saved for a new phone for a year. At the end of the year, I researched which phone to buy. I like to take pictures, so a good camera was important to me. I decided I wanted an iPhone 13 Pro Max, the same model as my cousin. I had never had an iPhone before. This was around the time the iPhone 14 was released. I had a look, but I couldn't afford anything more than the standard model, so I decided not to get it since they're basically the same phone. I very proudly told her I had saved enough to get a new phone, and she asked me what model I was thinking of. I told her I was planning to buy the 13 Pro Max. She did that thing where she scoffed while holding back a laugh and looked me up and down. I hadn't felt bothered about her doing this for years, but for some reason, this annoyed me so much. When ordering my phone, I decided to buy the 14. Not because it's better, but because I knew it would irritate her, and it was only a £10 difference. It arrived a week later, and when she saw it, she looked annoyed. She spent a while trying to convince me her phone was somehow better, but there's no difference. She didn't speak to me for a while, over a phone. My cousin smashed hers so her dad would buy her the 15. She did not get the 15. I've still got my phone over a year later, and it's going strong. Best purchase ever. It's more petty than revenge, but oh well. Alright, so there I am, just chilling in this hotel lobby, minding my own business. It's one of those average Tuesday afternoons, you know. Not too hot, not too cold, just the right amount of meh. I've got my laptop out, trying to look busy, even though I'm just scrolling through memes on the internet. Now let me give you a bit of background about me. I'm not your typical hero in this story. I'm just a dude who enjoys his peace and quiet, loves a good laugh, and is always up for a bit of drama, as long as it's not in my face, you feel me. So I'm sitting there, pretending to be engrossed in some serious work stuff, when suddenly, the peace is shattered. Enter Karen. Yeah, one of those I want to speak to the manager types. She's got this tiny dog with her, a fluff ball on a leash that looks like it's got more attitude than its owner. Karen, who's probably named something like Brenda or Carol, marches in like she owns the place. She doesn't even glance my way, just barges up to the front desk. I can't help but overhear bits of the conversation because, well, she's not exactly subtle. She's waving her arms around like she's directing air traffic. Your hotel is a disgrace. I demand a refund. Now I'm thinking, what went down here? But my curiosity is on simmer mode. I'm not one to jump into other people's business unless it's, entertaining. So Brenda Karen is going on about how her precious little furball just couldn't wait for the elevator ride to the ground floor. Apparently, Fluffington decided the hotel lobby was the perfect place for a pit stop, and as luck would have it, he chose the carpet right in front of the check-in desk. The poor receptionist is looking more confused than a chameleon in a bag of Skittles. I can tell she's doing her best to keep her cool. But Karen ain't having it. She's squawking about hygiene, about disrespect, about the audacity of this hotel to have the gall to not have a designated doggy bathroom in the lobby. Meanwhile, I'm trying to hide my amusement behind my laptop screen. It's like a live-action sitcom, and I've got a front row seat. Then, out of nowhere, Brenda Karen's eyes lock onto mine. Oh boy, here we go. She waltzes over, dragging Fluffington behind her like he's a disobedient toddler. You there? She points at me like I'm the villain in this saga. I look around, trying to convince myself there's some other dude in the lobby she's yelling at. But nope, it's me she's got her sights on. What's your problem, huh? You think this is funny? She says, venom in her voice. Now, I'm no hero, but I'm also not about to take flack for a crime I didn't commit. I close my laptop, look her dead in the eye and say, Lady, I'm just trying to enjoy my afternoon. Your dog's bathroom habits ain't on my agenda. She's not having it. Don't you dare talk back to me, you disrespectful punk. This is your fault somehow, I shrug, playing it cool. Sure, blame the guy sitting peacefully with his laptop. Real logical. At this point, the hotel staff is watching like it's a soap opera. The receptionist is ready to hide under the counter. Brenda Karen, though, she's on a roll. You probably scared my precious Fluffington with your laptop or whatever. Dogs are sensitive, you know. I roll my eyes, not even trying to hide it. Yeah, sure, my laptop, the canine boogeyman. She's fuming now. I demand this hotel ban you for scaring my poor baby. I'm baffled. Lady, I didn't even look at your dog, let alone scare it. And ban me? You're out of your mind. Well, she didn't like that. Not one bit. She starts throwing insults like confetti at a parade. At this point, the hotel manager shows up, probably alerted by the escalating decibel levels. Brenda Karen sees her chance for reinforcements and starts spinning her tale of woe. This man, she points at me like I'm a criminal mastermind, terrorized my Fluffington with his laptop, and now he's refusing to take responsibility. The manager, bless her soul, looks at me like she's trying to figure out if I'm a secret agent for some anti-dog laptop society. I stand up, trying to keep my cool. Look, I'm not terrorizing anyone. I'm just here to enjoy the free Wi-Fi. Brenda Karen isn't giving up. She's on a crusade, and I'm the dragon she's sworn to slay. The manager, sensing that this drama is spiraling out of control, decides to take decisive action. Ma'am, I understand your concerns, but we can't ban someone without proper evidence of wrongdoing. If your dog had an accident, it's not automatically this gentleman's fault. She's not having it. You people are useless. I demand compensation for the trauma you've caused my Fluffington. The manager, God bless her, stands firm. I'm sorry, but we won't be offering any compensation. Accidents happen, and we can't be held responsible for the actions of guests or their pets. Well, that sends Brenda Karen into a whole new level of rage. She starts throwing around threats, swearing that she'll leave the most scathing Yelp review the world has ever seen. The manager, unshaken, calmly informs her that she's free to do so. But here's the kicker. As Brenda Karen storms out of the hotel, still yelling about the injustice of it all, she drops a few choice insults my way. And let me tell you, I've got a thick skin, but this lady's creativity in the art of insults was something else. The manager, recognizing that I've become an unwitting victim in this circus, decides to ban Brenda Karen instead. I watch from the lobby as she stomps away, Fluffington in tow, still muttering about the laptop menace. And that, my friends, is how I unintentionally became the villain in a saga of entitled dog owners and hotel drama. All I wanted was a quiet afternoon with my memes. But hey, sometimes life throws you into the weirdest episodes of reality TV. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. Some background. My mom has 3 sisters. Let's call them Tuesday, T, Hippie, H, and Mask, M. Code names because I now dislike all 3 of them. My mom will be called Crystal, C. We also have one grandma who poured most of her time and energy into T, H, and M. They were her darling little girls. C was beloved by my grandpa and spent most of her time with him. My grandma never hid her disdain for my mother, often throwing things at her or hitting her for something as simple as crying when an animal died or when she got an injury. She also emotionally and psychologically tortured my grandpa. How? Well, in high school, my grandma had a boyfriend. Let's call him Ted. Ted eventually broke up with her and moved on, but she never forgot about him, often comparing my grandpa to him and claiming that Ted drives a Porsche or Ferrari or some other sports car. The funny thing is, he had been no contact with her since he dumped her. So this was all stuff made up in her mind. This is to give you an idea of what I've been dealing with. On to the main point. My grandma has Alzheimer's disease or dementia. I'm not sure which, as I'm uninformed. She has seriously deteriorated in the past 3 days, to the point that she can't remember events that happened 1 day ago, or gets events confused. I would be fine with her if it were just that. Remember the throwing stuff and hitting my mom? Yeah, she's continued to do that. And my mom has only just started to process that that was abuse. And it's gotten worse as she's suddenly deteriorated. Today, she threw a nightgown at me when I called out her behavior. Her aide came by at about 9 a.m., and at 9:15 a.m. I was called upstairs, and the aide told me that my grandma wanted her to go home. I hadn't said anything. Just gave my grandma a look and she scolded me with, "Don't you start with me." Internally I said, "Oh, is this what we're doing today? Fine, play ball, hag." And I called out her behavior over the past few months that she's been living here. She hasn't taken a shower once, and she's horribly incontinent. It was in the middle of the argument that she threw her nightgown at me. As tempted as I was to throw it back at her, I had the sense to tell myself, "Hey, no, don't do that," and tossed it onto a chair. Another thing to note, my grandma is afraid of me. I'm not sure why, as I've never been physically violent with her or threatened her. She has expressed a desire for my death, by the way. So all I can figure is that she's scared of me because I confront her nonsense. Eventually, I texted my aunts. The texts are as follows, with Z being me. Z. Update on Grandma. She has rapidly deteriorated mentally in the last week or 3 days. Because of this, it is unsafe for my mom and me to assist in moving her. She is becoming violent and throwing things. She threw a jar of facial cream at my mother and threw her nightgown at me this morning. Z. Obviously I'm not hurt, but I'm scared that she's becoming comfortable enough to take such actions. M. She has always had periods of becoming angry. Sorry that you are seeing it for the first time. What has changed in her routine this week? Is she having visits from aide's name or getting out? Z. This isn't my first time seeing it. This is the first time she's thrown something at me. Something my mom doesn't even do. Nothing has changed at all. Aide's name came by, is still here, and was told to go home by Grandma. She never goes out because she adamantly denies being able to, just like she denies being able to shower, and has decided she's unable to walk down the hall anymore. Z. I'm upset because she's becoming physically violent and it's not okay. M. You're right, it's not okay, and I can understand that it's upsetting. Some days are better than others for all of us, and as we age, there is less resilience. When you add in some mental decline and inability to talk about how you are feeling, loneliness, and all the changes she has gone through, there might be days like this. It's not easy to put yourself in her shoes because you have many life experiences ahead of you, so it can be more challenging to problem solve in the moment. One day at a time. She is a human that is most likely really hurting. Internally, I am screaming, I never thought I'd live through high school. I am human and I'm also hurting. Go away. I swear, there is nothing worse than a mother at an airport. Coming back from Cuba, and I noticed this family right away at the Varadero airport because they were loud, and the mother had a perma scowl. Probably why she looked like she was in her late 60s rather than mid-40s, which is probably more accurate. Getting on the plane, they were pushing everyone in line as they tried to move forward because, the plane with the assigned seating will definitely leave without them if they don't get on first. The mother in question was sitting in the row behind me, but across the aisle. At one point I could feel someone staring at me, so I looked back and she was blatantly staring at me with the most disgusted look on her face. Probably because of my tattoos, honestly, she seemed like the type. Whatever. Then we get off the plane. She tried to push past me instead of waiting her turn, but of course I didn't let her because it's plane etiquette. Then, as we're going through the hall towards customs, she's ducking, running down the hall, witch face firmly in place, and telling her kids to hurry, because we're not all going to the same place. Of course I get through customs before her, and I'm the first one at the baggage claim because I did arrive can, and I travel frequently. So I'm standing right at the part of the baggage carousel where the bags start to come out, and suddenly I'm pushed to the side. It's EM, of course. I hold my tongue. Bags start coming out and one gets stuck, so I go to put it back on the carousel to help out the owner, and I hear the loudest, rudest, "Excuse me," behind me, and she pushes me aside again to grab her kid's bag. Because the carousel isn't huge, she just had to stand as close to me as possible. That's when I snapped. I just looked at her and said, wow. Then she starts yapping at me like an annoying little dog, saying how she is helping her kids and she was being polite. I just retorted that she clearly hates her life, is obviously the type of person who screams at customer service employees. She keeps going, and she's giving me a headache and not worth my time, so I just said, "Honey, you need to shut your mouth right now." She did not like that one. She liked it even less when I started laughing at her. I could tell she is definitely a witch, and is never called on her behavior. My bag came before the rest of hers and I left her there, yapping like the annoying creature that she is. The best part is that neither her husband nor her teenage children stood up for her. Her husband looked exhausted by her behavior. Parents, if traveling causes you to be so witchy and annoying, don't do it. Leave the rest of us in peace, please. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences and opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.